Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prashant Ajmera. I'm an Indian immigration lawyer. Generally, I'm a speaker, but today I'm a host, and we have two wonderful speakers in front of us who is going to talk about a new business investment opportunity for an EB-5. And why do I think this is a new and unique investment opportunity? Because I've been in the immigration industry, and particularly in the EB-5, since last 30 years when the program started. But I never saw an opportunity like this one for an EB-5, because most of our Indian investors or the South Asian communities always wanted to invest in some known brands and where they can get into the business themselves when they come to USA. And today you're going to hear this new investment opportunities whereby you'll be making an investment into some well-known, world-famous quick restaurant brands, and also giving you an opportunity to become a franchise owners over the period of time and get into this industry. It was not possible before for a very simple reason that person who are out of USA do not have a green card or a citizenship. They do not have a credit history. They don't have an experience of working. And that's why it was difficult. But today in this webinar, you're going to hear about it, that how you can get into this one with the EB-5 pathway, which secures the green card for you and your family. And also you can get into this wonderful quick service restaurants business in USA. And these are the iconic brands, we all know about it. So without taking a further time, let me just, before we start the presentations, a disclaimer that this presentation is only for an educational purpose. We are not making an offer as such. And we advise that you take the advice of your own legal counsels or another experts before you decide to make an investment. So in today's webinar, what we're going to cover, we're going to give you an overview about the EB-5 program, which is a new program requirement. Then what is this company is about, the Tasty EB-5 group, and then the sponsor company, which is a parent company, we can say a Triton Pacific Capital, and on operating companies and what investment opportunity is there for an EB-5, and the future investment projects and management training and franchise opportunities for EB-5 investors. And to do this ones, we have, as I mentioned, two speakers today with us. Obviously, we have Mr. Kevin Fitzgerald. He's the managing partner of the Tasty EB-5 group with 30 years of an experience operating real estate investment companies, including several EB-5 investment offerings. And another speakers we have it is Brian Buller, managing partners of the Triton Pacific Group. He has an over 20 years of an experience of product development, distributions, and investment experience within financial services, commercial and real estate, private equity, and investment banking, and alternative investments. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Kevin Fitzgerald to give us an overview about the EB-5 programs. So Kevin, why don't you start with the basic requirement of the EB-5 under the new rules?
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to you. I've been involved with the EB-5 program probably since 2012, and I can tell you that the opportunity to be in an EB-5 offering are substantially better than they have been in the business. And this is largely driven through the new congressional legislation in 2022, which has really enhanced the EB-5 program. Has actually been around quite a while. Prashant is very unusual. He's been in it almost since the very beginning, but it was created by United States Congress in 1990. In 1993, they amended the program and they created the Regional Center program. And the basic concept of EB-5 is it is a program that's designed to incentivize foreign nationals to make an investment in the United States that will create new employment. And initially, it was just very simple. A foreign national, Indian national, or Chinese national from any place outside the United States could apply to start a business in the United States and justify the amount of employment that was going to be created, the investment, et cetera. And that would put them on a fast track to get a residency in the United States through what we call the green cards. So in, like I say, in 1993, they created the Regional Center Program, which created a platform for companies to sponsor the EB-5 investment, which gave the investors the benefit of professional management, getting into larger investments that typically maybe provided for diversification and other benefits of the the regional center program that are quite significant. So how does the program work? Until Congress changed the rules, the minimum investment was $500,000. Since 2022, if you are in a targeted employment area, the investment is actually $800,000. If you are not in a targeted employment area, the minimum investment is $1,050,000. To be in a targeted employment area, you have to have average unemployment in the region of at least 50% more than the national average. In addition, each investor must be credited with establishing 10 new jobs. Now, in the regional center program, there's an advantage that the investors program does not need to simply count the employees at the activity, but also is able to use economic studies prepared by economists that are specialists in this area that also are able to justify the employment that is created indirectly through construction expenditures and revenues, et cetera. So what has happened since 2022 is the waiting time for clients born in India has basically disappeared. So at this point, because of the reservation of the EB-5 visas for the high unemployment areas, the Indian national can now get into the program and expect to get his green card approved within 12 to 18 months. So this is a great time. Literally just a couple of years ago, we were looking at years of waiting time for people to be able to actually get their to get their visas. In addition, under the new rules, clients that are currently in the United States under other than immigration visas are able to get into the program and change their status.
Excellent. So basically, to sum up, under the new rules, now the investment amount has increased to 800,000 if it is a targeted employment area. And if it is outside the targeted employment area, it's a $1,050,000 US. You need to create 10 full-time jobs. And you have to make an investment which has a clear source of fund. So these are the basic requirements. But also, I think Kevin has mentioned a very good point, last one, which is the concurrent filing, we call it legally, whereby the people who are in USA on the F1 visa, L1 visa, H1 visas, and if they are filing for an EB-5, then they can do a simultaneous filing for the adjustment of status. And because of the amount has increased, there are not that many projects available. I think Kevin mentions that this is an ideal time to basically apply for the investment because the time has substantially reduced to almost 2 years or something like that. As of now, I think the government of USA is issuing a green card to people who have submitted file in April 2022. So that's very good. But also, I'd like to hear from Brian. Coming to you, Brian, tell us about your company, because always if the people are making an investment, they want to hear what is this company is about, what they are, where they are making an investment. So, Brian, can you tell us more about the Triton Pacific Capital Partners, please?
Yes, thank you, Prashant. And Kevin, thanks for the summarial view of the EB-5 program that currently exists for investors to contemplate investments today. So if you can turn to the next slide for me, I'll give you a quick roadmap and timeline of Triton Pacific Capital Partners. Triton Pacific Capital Partners was established in 2001. We have a long-standing history in the U.S. of making investments in private businesses within various sectors, one of them being restaurants, specifically quick service restaurants or fast food. And so when we look at the experience that we've gained across different verticals, we have assembled a management team that has on average 20 plus years of experience within their discipline, both sourcing different investment opportunities, acquiring and underwriting investment opportunities, and then managing these private equity investments and growing those investments value so that the investors have a positive outcome when working with Triton. No guarantees, but we work very hard to do our job correctly. In 2005, we established a broker-dealer that allows us to raise capital within certain parts of the US. And then most importantly for this call, in 2016, we established Tasty Restaurants Group. Tasty Restaurants Group is the organization that manages the store-level assets within our portfolio for fast food or for quick service restaurants. These are brands like Pizza Hut, which we'll talk about today, and other brands like Kentucky Fried Chicken or Dunkin, also Burger King, as well as others. So in 2017, we launched a $150 million offering that was fully subscribed. And then we launched a second offering to the investing world of 200 million, which we're in our institutional close down mode now. And then we've also built out some other investment vehicles that investors have a choice to work with us on. And one of those today is our Tasty EB-5 platform. And so if you can turn the page for me, myself as well as my partners are dedicated to this space as well as other sectors. And we rely on both our expertise as well as outside counsel and outside investment banking groups and our own Tasty Restaurant Group operating company. If you can go to the next slide, I'll speak to a minute on Tasty Restaurant Group. Tasty Restaurant Group, as I mentioned just briefly before, was established in 2016. Its headquarters is in Dallas, Texas, in the United States, and it provides the management services for our portfolio companies throughout our Tasty platform. Within the Tasty Restaurant Group company, on average, there's 20 plus years of experience, not just at the C-suite, that's the CEO and the CFO and the CEO, but down to our regional and district directors, and even down to the general manager level at the store level. And when we combine our senior management team's experience, we've managed over 10,000 store locations within their experience over that time frame. So I believe that we have the skill set and the discipline and the knowledge to be able to thoughtfully bring investment product through different vehicles, one of them being the EB-5 platform that we've created. If you go to the next slide, this will give you a visual on where our assets are located. One more, Kevin. And here you'll see we are approaching 500 store locations throughout the US, again, within various brands, Burger King, Pizza Hut, Dunkin, Baskin-Robbins, KFC, and Taco Bell. Very proud of a recent transaction we just completed in our KFC platform of 64 new units, which makes us one of the top 5 largest KFC operators in the world. And in the Pizza Hut platform, we're in the top 10 largest operators in the US. And after a series of transactions that we're looking to complete, we believe will be in the top 5 here within the next coming quarters. So a deep domain experience with a nice diversified approach to quick service restaurant portfolios. And if you go to the next slide, it further demonstrates our ranking, if you will, as we look at where we sit with regards to other quick service restaurant operators. It's interesting. In 2016, when we sat in our boardroom and we looked at what sector do we want to add to our portfolio, we underwrote 11 different sectors. And we kept coming back to fast food. And the reason we came back to fast food is because the consumption is so significant in the United States.
Yes.
On average, 85 million Americans consume fast food on a daily basis, and that's just the adults. When you add under the age of 18, it skyrockets north of 100 million consumers a day utilizing fast food. Wow. And so as we've quickly grown to become one of the largest operators in the US, our goal is to be number one. And over the next 10 years, we believe that not only will we achieve that goal, but super exceed that goal, because the list is very short above us. And we know the players both above us and below us. And if you know one thing about private equity guys, we like to scale and we like to create exit strategies. And so fast food has a tremendous opportunity for us within this sector to be able to acquire, professionally institutionalize, and operate these stores and deliver, I think, a unique experience for investors to participate within the fast food sector and within our EB-5 platform. Kevin, I'll turn it over to you to work through a couple of the other comments on the offering that we have available.
Right. Okay. So before the Kevin comes in, I'd like to see, I mean, obviously, as you are coming from the private equities and banking industries and investment industries, I mean, so you're talking about in that front, but I'll speak, add a couple of points from the EB-5 industries or EB-5 investment side, that generally what two questions the investor should ask when they want to make an investment is, what is the history of the company and who are the people behind the company? And when you want to make an investment, you are looking for a company like this one, who has a long history, number of years of history, almost 23 years of an history, and he has a long-term vision where they want to take a company. And EB-5 is just using as a one way of growing or scaling. And that's the two important aspects one should look at it when they are looking at something like a company, the Tasty Restaurant Group and the quick service restaurants and Tasty Group. So now we hear about the basic understandings, we hear about the companies behind it. Now I will ask Kevin to talk about what we have it in present offering. So Kevin, you want to go ahead, please?
Sure. Thanks, Prashant. So this is a little primer on who the players are. The actual, what we call the new commercial enterprise, is Tasty EB-5 Group 101. And this is the entity through which the clients actually acquire their investment. So this is a Delaware limited liability company, and each of the 7 investors that will be in this program will acquire a membership interest in that limited liability company. That company is independently managed by my company, which is called Global EB-5 Manager. And in this case, we have what we call a loan structure, where there is an independent party that actually manages the investment for the clients. So we have basically a fiduciary responsibility that flows independently of the operating partner. And then Brian is, as you just met, is one of the managing partners of Triton Pacific, which is our operating partner, and they are the private equity company that's been in business, as Prashant mentions, over 20 years. And then their subsidiary company, which is headquartered in Dallas, Texas, which is actually manages the 500 or so restaurants that Triton has acquired over this last 7 or 8 years.
Excellent.
Okay. Next
So,
slide.
so it meets basically the EB-5 requirement that you have to create a new company, and that's why we have created this new TST EB-5 Group 101 LLC. Am I right, Brian? Sir Kevin?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
and that's what the one is
clients
going
need
to
be
create the
independent
jobs.
today.
Okay, very good.
Correct.
So
Correct.
these are the people involved into it, I think, and the next slide is the real high investment highlights. So go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, so as Brian mentioned, the brand which this offering will be involved in is Pizza Hut. So let's look at the next slide.
Yeah.
So we are raising a total of $5.6 million. 7 investors will each contribute $800,000 as their capital contribution, which is what is required under the new law. In addition, there's a $70,000 subscription fee, which covers all the external costs associated with the offering. So 100% of the $800,000 actually goes to building and operating the new restaurants.
Mhm.
And what's interesting and unique about this program is there is no external financing that's required to build and operate these stores. So out of the $5.6 million, 100% of that capital is all that's required to install these restaurants and operate them to profitability. And from my experience, what is really a unique benefit to this program is the mitigation of traditional real estate investment risk. We're not building buildings. These restaurants are being installed in existing shopping centers. So it's a matter of installing the furniture, fixture, and equipment. All of that can be done in a matter of months, typically 3 months to install them, and then the stores are usually profitable within another 3 months. The group in Dallas will oversee the installation of the stores. There are approximately 50 Pizza Hut stores that are owned by the Tasty brand in the Northeast, in New York and New England. So they have a very deep management team right there. So we will hit the ground running. Preferred return is typical for the EB-5 programs. In this case, we're at the high end. It's usually between 0.25% per year to 1%. We're at the high end, so 1% per annum in cash distributions, which is paid quarterly. The parent company of the borrower, Tasty Hut Northeast, is providing an unconditional guarantee for the repayment of the EB-5 loan after its maturity in 5 years. And if you look at that first paragraph, the bold print, Tasty has contributed 22 stores to the borrowing entity to support the project. So this is very unusual. We've got 22 operating Pizza Hut stores in the Northeast, which Tasty has contributed without consideration to the borrowing entity, so that we've got a $10 million capital contribution by the operating company to basically make sure that there's more than adequate cash flow and equity for the clients to see their capital returned after 5 years. We've got a guarantee that the clients will get their green cards if something happens and the USCIS does deny the visa application, then the clients will receive 100% of their capital back. On job creation, they say there's 10 jobs required per client. We've got a 36% buffer, so our total jobs, direct and indirect, for these 5 stores will be 95. And then our exit plan at the end of 5 years is to refinance those 5 stores or sell them and repay the clients their capital at that time.
Right. Excellent. So this is the new unit development, and this is the area you are talking about, right, Kevin?
Right, right. So we're in the most dense, highly populated, best place to own a business in the United States. It's that Northeast corridor.
That's
And
right.
so,
Yeah. So it's a New York State and
very vibrant.
Massachusetts. So the
Yep.
black spots where we see is the stores where the 7 stores are going, 5 stores are going to come up, right?
That's correct.
Right. So, but I mean, sir, I think it's a very good point you made it about it, which I think the listeners should also understand, is that the most important aspect is that there is no bank loan. In order to avoid the bank loan to build a new Pizza Hut, they have put their existing Pizza Huts into this new company, and now they are building a 5 new stores. So there is no loan from the bank. And all the money for your investment, what you're making, is gone in building up the new Pizza Huts in that area. So there is no outside lender is there. And because of that, you don't have to pay the interest. The success of the, or we can call it a break even of the business, could be very, very quick. And with that, I think it gives a good cushions and a good understanding that how safe this business could be when it comes to an EB-5 investment, because these are the world famous brands. We have talked about it, and that's what we are doing. Thank you very much, Kevin. Now I think coming back to the Brian for the last part of our webinar, that future investment project. So what is the, you did mention in your earlier presentation that we have a long way to go and all these ones, but what are the future investment projects you have it, and what are the unique opportunities have it for an EB-5 investors? Can you talk about that one, Brian, please?
Yes, thank you for that. So our commitment to the restaurant space, in particular quick service, is significant. We have invested millions and millions of our own personal dollars. We have invested hundreds and hundreds of millions of investor dollars, and we have strategic partners with the brands listed on the screen: Burger King, Dunkin, KFC, and Pizza Hut. And our commitment with the brands is such that not only are we acquiring stores, but we're developing stores, and we're building out different areas of the country based on where consumers are moving, where consumers are consuming fast food. And so we have had an exhaustive underwriting process, not just underwriting the fast food sector, but also underwriting dozens and dozens and dozens of EB-5 programs of all different sectors, from all different types of sponsors. And I do want to just spend just a second on one of the comments that Kevin mentioned, which was our contribution of $10 million worth of stores, 22 stores to the program. This is something that is extremely unique and, quite frankly, unheard of within the EB-5 space. But I think it further demonstrates to the listener our commitment, not just to the quick service restaurant sector, but our commitment to the investors themselves. And it's not often where an asset manager really puts themselves at risk first, and then the investors second. Most of the time it's investor first and then us second. But we live by the FILO theory, which is first in, last out. And so our focus is to be able to bring intelligent, thoughtful product to market that allows investors to take advantage of really a high level integrity sponsor like Triton Pacific. So I just wanted to, I wanted to spend just a second on that, because I think it's an important distinction between Triton and maybe some other opportunities that you may look at from different programs. Now, back to the pipeline. Our commitment to this space is such that our goal is to build out a series of offerings within the EB-5 platform. This isn't just a one project deal and then we're out of the space. We've been working on building out this platform for over 18 months. And this is our project that we're bringing to market. But there's a series of offerings in the Burger King system, in the Dunkin system, in the KFC system, and more in the Pizza Hut system, so that there should be available for investors to thoughtfully underwrite and consider as your EB-5 investment from a timing standpoint. If you can't get in today, because I have a feeling that this program will probably move fairly quickly now that we've launched it, there will be a series of offerings behind it that will be, I know this number says about 80 million. It's probably closer to $120 million now from our view. And that number is only going to grow as we continue to build out and scale our pipeline within the
Number
EB-5
one
space.
position. Number one position.
That's right. Number one, if you you got to be number one, period. That's what I believe. That's what I've taught my family to believe. You gotta do it right. You have to do it with integrity. You have to do it with good people around you, and you have to be very thoughtful about how you approach a marketplace. And so having a pipeline that's significant over several years, I think further demonstrates our commitment to the investors that are listening today, as well as the offerings that we'll thoughtfully bring to market over the coming years.
That's excellent, Simmons. I know that you're thinking probably 10 years down the road and building more and more these brands, but also like what is there for the EB-5 investors? If I'm making an investor, how I can be a part of this one? Tell me about that one.
Yeah, so this was actually a concept that Kevin brought to us with one of our vice presidents and said, is there an opportunity for EB-5 investors to also potentially become a franchisee? And so we looked at this and went, well, yes, there's a natural process because we already have Tasty University in place where the thousands and thousands of employees that we have under our Tasty enterprise, I think the number is approaching 9,000 employees now, go through this Tasty Academy, Tasty University, and it allows them to not just understand how to manage a store, but it integrates them into the culture that we've thoughtfully built out. You know, we look at this sector and we see so many different types of operators in this space. There's a lot of operators that will cut corners. There's a lot of operators that they're trying to just save the margins in a way that potentially can hurt the relationship with the customer, the consumer. And that's not the way that Triton does it. And it's not the way that Tasty does it. And so we have built out, I think, a really interesting program for the EB-5 investors where the enrollment process to be able to participate in the EB-5 is already built out through the government process. And then the investment that's made into the Tasty offering then gives our EB-5 investors, if they choose, an opportunity to then go through our Tasty Academy and learn how to become a franchise operator and work within our Tasty platform. And then you have some options as well. Down the road, do you have an option to do a joint venture with us and help build your own project? Do you have an opportunity to do a joint venture and manage a store with us and become your own franchisee as we look to cultivate and scale and expand our footprint throughout the US? And so the relationships that we've built at the highest level within the brands is supported by this kind of invaluable pursuit of trying to create an opportunity set for investors as well as franchisees within the US. And you've seen it on a couple slides, invest in America. And I'm a true believer that if you don't invest in America, if you don't invest in this great country, it's not going to be a great country tomorrow. And so we're constantly trying to improve and expand upon the foundation that exists within this capitalistic environment that we get to participate in, as well as then bring alongside us the EB-5 investors that do have an interest in participating as a franchisee within the markets that we operate our stores in. So I think it's truly an opportunity to both invest, be trained, and potentially have franchisee opportunities available to you as a relationship through Triton Pacific and through Tasty Brands. So very exciting, very unique again.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. This is very unique. I know when I met Kevin almost 2 years back, and when I told him that if this is the kind of an opportunity we'll have it, people will have an interest. Because see, because I've been working in EB-5 industries, as you know, for almost 30 years plus since it started. But always all the investors has come, each and every one of them have come and asked me, can we work in the company where we have invested? And answer was always no. But in this case, as an investors, if you are interested in working in these industries and making your business further and franchising opportunities and own these brands in United States, then you have opened up a pathways for them that you make an investment to show your commitment to a Triton Pacific group, show your commitment that you are interested in going into this industry. So take the necessary experience and an academy, learn about it, and then become your own franchise owner in USA. So this is like an excellent opportunities. Means it covers all the bases, and that's why I believe that this Triton Group and with you and Kevin and everybody who's involved has come up with the excellent projects and an EB-5 opportunities for anybody else. I've seen in the past these retail businesses, but they were just like a fly-by-night. They wanted to create some restaurants here and there, and that's about it. But there was no solid backgrounds or thinking, and there was no futures. And bringing this in this manner is really excellent. So I think we completed the presentations. Now I think we'll open up a floor for the question and answers. So I'll stop sharing this one. And like if people has any questions or anything, we'll be more than happy to take. You are free to ask question in Gujarati, Hindi or English. If you ask in Gujarati or Hindi, I'll be your translator and we'll do it. But I'll stop recording now. So